Do you know anybody that might be in Celebrity Big Brother?
Well,
just asking for a friend.
No, OK, so the other day I ran into Will at an event.
Who's Will?
As in AJ.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, the host of the show. And they're in on Friday, thank goodness.
Oh, yeah,
on Thursday.
right, OK.
And basically he said to me, do you know anybody that's in it? And sort of gave me that weird thing that he thinks I know somebody that's in it, but then didn't tell me, so now I can't...
Don't tell me Marv signed up for something else.
Oh, please, no. Yeah.
All right, it's competition time now. Your chance to win £250,000. Nigel Havers is in Nashville.
Now, it's been 40 years since the iconic TV drama Dempsey and Makepeace was first released, which ultimately led to the stars of the show finding love both on and off screen.
Oh, I love a good romantic story. We're catching up with the real-life couple Michael Brandon and Glynis Barber in just a moment. But first, let's take a look back at their classic cop series.
Dempsey, Lieutenant NYPD.
Sergeant Makepeace would be a good detective to show you around.
Suppose we don't get along.
I think you'll get along.
This may come as a shock to you, but I'm really not interested.
In New York, they think he's hot stuff. Who knows? You might even make a team.
Nice driving.
Come on, Harry, we're a team. We're partners.
You're too trigger-happy.
Me, huh? Oh, that's a laugh.
You will be both cooperative and polite.
You could tell Sergeant Makepeace I wouldn't ride with her if she was naked on a Harley Davidson with a rose in her teeth.
He should be so lucky. Over and out.
Wow.
It's literally like my childhood Saturday nights. Absolutely brilliant. Michael and Glynis join us now. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
It is exactly 40 years, isn't it?
It's 40 years since we were introduced.
Yeah.
And we began filming, so we spent most of 1984 filming the first series, which was then, I think, aired at the beginning of '85.
Yeah, it was an ITV programme when it was on back in the day. It is available on ITVX at the moment.
Yes.
Did you imagine... Well, firstly, when you looked into her eyes, did you think, this is the lady for me?
Wow.
I think the answer to that is yes. Yes.
I think there's a really quick answer to this question.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember writing something down. I had a notebook, and that night, after we first met at the Ritz Hotel, a tea was set up for our first introduction. We were both hired at the Ritz.
For ITV?
Well, no, because we... Well, darling, this is the 80s.
Oh, we've been a premiere in now, I assure you, literally.
No, but because we hadn't started filming, and they had to introduce us because we had never met,
Right.
and he'd come over from America.
So you were both separately cast for the roles, but...
I was cast here, and he was cast in America, and then when he came over, I was finishing off filming something else, so he was stuck in this hotel waiting for weeks for me to finish.
Rained every day.
And then the producer thought, it would be nice. I'll take them to the Ritz for tea.
Yeah.
So that's where we first met.
It was a classic cop show. She wasn't even born.
No, I know.
She wasn't even born.
Which is
yeah,
mad,
which is
isn't it?
crazy. But it was a classic cop show. When you first read the scripts, it was a co-pro between British television and American television.
Yes. It was one of the first
hadn't really been done before. OK.
Yeah.
Were you dubious?
Well, the thing was, I was trying to sell a movie. I wrote a script, and I was at 20th Century Fox, and I got a call from my agents, and they called a meeting, and they said, do you know how much you didn't make this year? I said, how could I know that? They said, we do. They open up a file. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. I said, they're all television series.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a television series. They said, well, it's the wave of the future.
Yeah.
It's no longer taboo TV, you know? So I got a bunch of scripts. I was reading in my office. The one I liked was on funny paper, A4.
Oh, my God.
You know, and I said, I like that one. That was a mistake. We shouldn't have sent that to you. I said, no, that's the one I like. Yeah, but you're not right for the part. You're right, I'm not. But I have an idea. So they had a California millionaire as the character. And
James Dempsey III.
And with Lady Harriet Makepeace, that was like butter and, you know, margarine. It didn't work. It was too boring. It was like a kind of an American Nigel Havers, you know. I mean, so... Sorry. No. Anyway, so I said, get me a meeting. They said, they don't want to see you. I said, you're CIA, Mike Ovitz and Ron Meyer, the two biggest agents in the business. Get me a meeting. So they got me, I forget what you call it, a convenient meeting, something like that. Right. And the guys, these two Englishmen, were packing their bags, literally. I was standing in the hallway. They were packing. And I said, OK, I just take a minute of your time. And I said, I see this guy as a New York homicide detective right out of the sewers of the street, and he'll teach her the true meaning of the bard's words. So if you have any interest in that, call me. And I left. They called.
This is like a movie in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, then what happened? I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so my agent calls, says they called from the airport. They're taking the later flight. They're coming to see you. So they came to my office at Fox, and I did it on tape.
Yeah.
A minute or two of what I was thinking about as Dempsey. You know, life is hard, then you die.
Yes.
And
seems to be the theme in today's show.
yeah, and the rest was history. Then we met.
So they actually changed it and they rewrote the part. And if you think of it, you know, the clash between Dempsey and Makepeace, of course, was the culture clash, the American, but it was also a class clash.
Yeah.
And that really is what worked and what was the chemistry. If he'd been some, you know, well-educated Californian millionaire, it would have been a bit boring, I think.
Did you imagine? I mean, of course, one never imagines that your TV show is going to last 40 years. They bring out this thing called ITVX. All of a sudden, they're all back on.
I know.
Have you been
insane.
surprised at the fact that people are watching it all over again?
Well, yes. I mean, and for years they didn't repeat it, which was kind of weird. And then they did a little bit sometimes. But now, I mean, I don't even know. It's on everywhere because people say, no, I'm watching it on YouTube. Some people say I'm watching it on ITVX.
Yeah.
I don't even know where it's on. It seems to be on everywhere all
It actually
day.
should have still been running because when they cancelled that show, it had 20 million viewers. You can't get that.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, those were the good old days when there were only 3 channels.
You look amazing, you two there. Look at that.
But
you look
just
sensational.
Look just as incredible. Like, honestly, like, I don't know what you're doing, but I need to be doing it. You're just not aged at all. It's absolutely magnificent.
So when did romance blossom between the two of you?
Well...
Not the first season.
No, not for a while.
Clear and concise.
After that meeting at the Ritz.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know Michael, obviously. So what I didn't realise, you know, he was alone in England, he didn't know anyone, he was probably a little bit nervous, and he thought he would try out the character. So
well, I've been working on the character. In fact, before I flew over, I went to see New York detectives, and I was working on the character.
So when I met
So I was even wearing a toy gun with a holster.
Oh, it was a nightmare. He was a
all over
nightmare.
England.
He was a nightmare.
Hilarious.
He was... I mean, I had never even been to America. The only impression I have of Americans were from the movies.
Yeah.
And I had a boyfriend, and I went home and I said, this man is a nightmare. He said he's loud, he's brash, he was shouting. I was going, oh, my God, how am I going to work with this person?
Well, the basic essence of Dempsey, to me, was irreverence. You know, he
was certainly that.
We were in the Ritz, and the phone was ringing, nobody's answering. I said, somebody get that?
You've been together.
You could see her face.
I know. You've been together for 34 years.
We've been married for 34 years.
Married for 34 years.
Yes.
Still going
It's
strong.
so
Your TV
incredible.
show's back on the television. I think it's just a fantastic story.
Congratulations,
and we're so glad
guys.
you come in this morning
You've
to
won
share
at
some of
life.
it with us.
You've won at life, honestly. And you don't age.
Lovely to see you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Right.